Welcome to the Pinch to Zoom podcast, the show where we zoom in to the latest tech news, products, and trends. I'm Stetson.
I'm Gabe.
And this week we have sort of a special episode for you. There has been so much news since our brief hiatus on the podcast.
We're back, baby.
We're back, and we're doing a news-focused episode covering all the latest tech that has been announced, I think, in the last 3 weeks since we last recorded, right, Gabe?
Yes, these are, we took our hiatus perfectly timed with the beginning of the hottest news cycle and release calendar period for tech. And
Techtember,
exactly. It's, it went into full swing a little bit early in some ways, but also I feel like it was also a little late because Labor Day was so late, so they really didn't kick it off until this last week, when you got all the news about, the Apple. Well, I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to. Well, so let's just outline this episode. So for the audience, we're going to be covering the news topics in this Pinch to Zoom episode. We're talking wireless. We're talking mobile phones, tablets, and wearable devices. We're going to be talking a little bit about gaming. We had exciting announcements there, and some photo video products, as well as some drone news.
Yeah, we're scrapping all of our usual stuff because there's just so much news. It's this huge tsunami, and we're like, all right, we have to take this on eventually.
We're grabbing our surfboards, and we're going to ride this wave. That's
we're going to ride it, exactly. There we go. We're embracing it. We're going full on with this. And then we're also going to have a bonus episode, actually, on next week for an Apple event that's coming up.
I think it's Tuesday,
September 15th?
Yep.
Tuesday, September 15th. We'll have it then. I'm just going to tease it up front here rather than when we later talk about the Apple
Smart
news.
Move. So get subscribed on your favorite podcast player of choice, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or more. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be an exciting week next week. For now, let's just dive into this episode.
Yeah.
First up,
right off the bat, mobile wireless area.
I want to talk about wireless. This isn't really news, but just kind of a PSA. So if you're a Verizon customer, Verizon has added protection to help protect you against SIM swapping hacks within the mobile application. It's called Number Lock, and this just, again, helps deter hackers from porting your number out without your knowledge or consent. And T-Mobile offers something called No Port. You do need to contact T-Mobile support to get this feature enabled. Again, just trying to help deter hackers from stealing your phone number. That's my PSA. Gabe, let's dive into
I like to live on the edge. I kind of like to let hackers just, have fun with my information at will.
You just post your passwords and usernames online, just see what happens.
Your social security number. Makes life more exciting, honestly.
Someone else has been running my Twitter account for the past 3 years now, and I think they're doing a great job.
They really are, honestly. If you look back in the tweets, like 3 years ago, not very good. Now, it's gotten so much better. So hats off to them. Yeah, but that's it for wireless news. Let's go on to actually mobile and talk about all the exciting stuff we got. First off, honestly, the thing that's a bit sad is the Surface Duo.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I guess let's get it out of the way. So we were very excited about this. We've talked about it a bunch. It launched, and we detailed all the specs and stuff.
Actually, it came out officially yesterday.
Okay, but it launched. 10th. It actually officially went on sale yesterday. But now we were always saying that all right, the specs aren't that great, but it's the experience, the UI. And unfortunately, it looks like also that is potentially not the best because
that is falling flat in its face.
Yeah, early reviews are saying really buggy, not good. And so we can chalk a lot of it, I think, off to first generation issues, right?
Yeah. So this is Microsoft's first time building an Android device, right? We got to give Microsoft a lot of credit for that. Yeah. And they weren't really known for their renowned success in Windows Phone. So, I'll cut them some slack here, but to your point, yeah, we're hearing reviewers mention that the software experience was a lot worse than they were expecting. And this is disappointing. And Microsoft actually released a day one patch for this product, but keep in mind that the review units everyone had already had this patch on it. So everything you hear about in the reviews will be present when you go and purchase this device. But yeah, this is disappointing for me. Our previous episode, we talked about Apple's folding phone and what that would look like. And we were predicting it would look like a Surface Duo kind of design. So I don't know what to think at this point. I think
Well, I think we could have been right actually. Because what Apple's doing is they're letting Microsoft go ahead, make all these mistakes, release super buggy software, while Apple's just diligently working away, doing tons of beta focus group testing or whatever they're doing in their secret rooms, getting their crack marketing team together, and then maybe they'll release it. Or if it's just an unsuccessful type of fad, then they just miss out on it and don't have to worry about all the R&D they spent.
it's
Though
true.
I did actually, sorry, just hear a rumor that Apple ordered a bunch of foldable displays from Samsung.
I heard that too. And I don't know what that means, because does that mean they're going to be going more of the Fold 2 approach with a hinge device with a, like a
Potentially,
tablet?
yeah, right.
We'll have to see what that means. I guess some final thoughts for me on Surface Duo. I think the hardware is incredible. Like, the hinge team knocked it out of the park. This is a premium device. Unfortunately, it's held back by the buggy software. The good news is that can be fixed, and I think as the year progresses, we'll see this product category become a little bit more refined, and we'll see how people use it. Like, Microsoft is positioning this as a business-focused, multitasking productivity tool. I think we have yet to see how this pans out for them, but I'm already excited for the Duo 2 and the other dual screen device. I can't remember the name of it right now, but the more of the tablet, the Neo, the Surface Neo.
Yeah, I think also, did we see that, was it Samsung was going to be releasing a folding? I saw some rumor about that too. Not really concrete on that. Anyways, though, if you were tired of folding devices, right, and you already were like, this is too boring now, these folding screens, I want something that's two screens but different. Well, LG has got you covered there in spades. We saw this leak out, some rumors and some photos of it, and it's called, is this actually the official name?
Official name. LG confirmed it September 6th, I believe.
Yeah. So it's called the LG Wing. And it's, the best way, you want to describe it?
Yeah. So, all right, you're going to take your smartphone, and then you're going to take your friend's phone and put it behind your phone. So you got two phones. Then you're going to take your phone on top, and you're going to swivel it up so it looks like it's a T. So you have your phone that's in a T, and then you have the bottom part of your friend's phone poking behind it. It looks like a T. Like, the front display pivots upwards.
It's more
that's
like
totally a T.
Or I guess it's like a T on its side.
Nice. Right. So you're looking at the phone at a different orientation.
Okay, got you. Yep, I see.
So
if you turn it one way, it's a T. The other way, it's a T on its side.
Well, the mechanism that's happening here is the main display is pivoting up, so it rotates 90 degrees and moves to the top of the device. And this allows a secondary display to poke out underneath it, and that's where you get this T-shaped phone. And then, as Gabe was talking about, if you were to rotate this entire device 90 degrees or 180 degrees, like, you get different configurations where it looks like you have a secondary display possibly off to the right side or the left side, or maybe you have a tiny display kind of above the main display. It's a two-screened sliding device. What do you think about what LG is doing here, Gabe?
It's interesting. I'll give them that. But I feel like I could just make that with two phones myself. Just tape them together, and boom, there it is. And I almost feel like I've actually done this with either two phones or possibly with an iPad mini and a phone. Just like, I'm watching something on my iPad mini on the YouTube player or whatever, and then I also have my phone like set over the right side of it, and I'm texting someone on that or looking at something up online.
Sure. Yeah, I think, honestly, that LG is experimenting with a crazy new form factor and design. I don't know if there's a legitimate usability case here. I don't know if this is going to make anything better. I don't know if durability will be compromised by having a sort of swiveling hinged mechanism.
Yeah.
And I don't know what apps are going to support it. I think that's the biggest thing we're starting to see with the Surface Duo and even with the Galaxy Z Fold 2 and possibly this LG Wing, is that app developers need to optimize their apps for these new, crazy, wild form factor devices. That takes a lot of time and development energy. It's hard to say what apps will be optimized for this, and if any at all. Like, it's just so different. it's kind of hard to see how it'll be used.
Maybe that's possibly why they're releasing these devices now. They're trying to get ahead of it so they can get their app developers, already working on ways to integrate it and use it. Kind of like how Apple put the LiDAR sensor in their iPad Pro this past spring. They're putting out the hardware, even though it's ahead of its time, so that the developers can get, their hands around it, figure out how it could be used, how it can be useful, and such. The thing I think will be very, make or break for this product is the price. Because as we've seen with these phones, the Surface Duo was relatively cheap at only $1,400, but now that Galaxy Z Fold 2 comes out with a price of $2,000, like, you might love how good the phone looks and everything about it and the specs. Z Fold 2 is incredible, how many cameras it has on there, how much, the quality, everything. But for $2,000, if the Wing is $1,600, are you going to get it really? Are you going to spend that much money on what is essentially, first gen beta product?
Right. What price point do you think they have to hit to make this product be more of a success?
They really have to get really close to what a flagship phone goes for. So
I agree. I'm thinking
$1,200,
$999.
$1,300.
Yeah, $1,200 is probably going to be what it is.
Yeah.
But
no, if it could hit $1,200, I think it would be good. But I have a feeling it's going to be more like $1,500, more like the Z Flip or the Motorola Razr one.
Razr, yeah. We'll have to wait and see on that. The announcement is scheduled for September 14th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little bit of goodness before the Apple keynote on Tuesday.
A little bit of goodness?
A little bit of, I don't know.
Weirdness.
Wingness.
Yeah.
Gabe, you had brought up the Galaxy Z Fold 2. That's coming out September 18th. You want to touch on that for a little bit? What have been impressions? What are people saying about it?
Well, we had another unpacked. Samsung wasn't done unpacking. They grabbed another box and they then unpacked the Z Fold 2, which, speaking of unpacking, they designed, I guess you're paying $2,000, so they figure, all right, let's go above and beyond on the unboxing experience. And the box itself is it's like a Z Fold 2 almost in the way it folds out and everything. But, so they're really trying to push that it's a premium product. And as I said, for $2,000, it definitely fits that price tag.
Well, I don't know. Did you hear that they're no longer including the Galaxy Buds in the box? They're losing out on some of the other included accessories like the case.
I'm saying it's a premium product in that the price tag. But what I was going to say is, does it actually fit it as far as features and what you get for that price?
Well, what do you think?
I think no, it doesn't at this point. The only thing it fits is that it's early adapter status. And if you want to,
with you.
Yeah, if you want to be the friend who flips out a Z Fold 2 and all your friends are like, whoa, what is that? Or want to be the type of person that is maybe using your phone, and Stetson and I come up to you and like, yo, is that the Z Fold 2? Which I've done with several people not using Z. I haven't seen actually a Galaxy Fold or any folding device in the wild. I've seen the red phone, the red Oxygen.
Yeah.
I saw that in the wild, and that was a big one for me to see, literally.
I think it's the red Hydrogen.
Hydrogen, yeah, that's what it was. But, no, I don't think it's a premium device. I did see that they announced that you would get a one-time screen replacement.
I saw that, $149. Yeah.
So that's helpful considering that all the phone pretty much is screen,
I think that's a nice touch. I think it is priced for the tech enthusiast right now, which makes sense. It's the target market. But it is, I think it's a polished device. I mean, the improvements Samsung made here are remarkable, from the Fold to the Z Fold 2, because we now have glass on the internal display. They removed the huge camera notch. We now have a single hole punch camera on the inside. We have a great triple camera setup on the outside. The external display went from being this tiny little thing to actually usable as a display. And it's packing the latest specs, unlike the Microsoft Duo. So you're looking at support for 5G, thanks to the Snapdragon 865, 12 gigs of RAM, 4,500 milliamp hour battery. And yeah, it's basically packing the thing is, the
battery is smaller than that of the Samsung, I want to say S20 Ultra, or the top one.
Like the Note 20 Ultra?
No, the Galaxy S20.
Really, the S20 Ultra?
The top of the line. Well, is it the Ultra 5G? I don't know. Whatever the most expensive S20 phone, that has a bigger battery, I'm pretty sure. I think it has almost 5,000 milliamp hours.
Also doesn't fold.
Yeah, true. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how this one does. I still think if you're buying a phone, which is something you use every day, you mainly want it for the use, right? Like you don't want it just to be cool. Oh wow, look how awesome this is.
Depends who you are. I think for the average person, this needs to drop in price. An interesting take is the current, or I guess the previous gen Galaxy Fold. I think is going. You can find it used for around $1,200, depending on where you're looking, which is kind of like.
I would not want that phone used, considering how many problems it had.
The one phone you don't want to buy used.
Pretty much.
But my point is that in a year, this device could drop pretty significantly on the used market if you're interested.
True. Potentially. All right, let's keep moving on. Do you want to just go through these next, before we get to the Apple event, which is the big thing we want to talk about? Do you want to just blow through these other two phones that we had, the Motorola phones?
Yeah, so some Motorola news. We have the Motorola Razr 5G. This is a vertical flippy phone available this fall for $1,400, same as the Surface Duo. Second gen, it's got a larger exterior display, much better for handling notifications. You can have a music player, and you even get a full QWERTY keyboard if you're absolutely feeling crazy. It also supports that sub-6 5G for support on AT&T and T-Mobile's 5G networks. Packing 8 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 765G, 48 megapixel camera on the back, 20 megapixel front-facing shooter, and the fingerprint reader got improved. Instead of being on the side, it is now on a little dimple in the back, which is much nicer. But of course, with these folding devices, you miss out on some of the flagship specs. No wireless charging, no IP ratings for dust or water resistance, and you're missing out on the wide angle and telephoto cameras. So I don't know, for me, the folding devices are a novelty that I think the tech community loves because they love technology and the innovations these products offer. But for a consumer use case, I really don't see these expensive folding devices offering a true advantage over just a refined flagship smartphone. Like the flagships are offering the image quality and the battery life, the two, and the performance, like the most important things people want. Yeah, exactly. So that's the Razr 5G coming this fall, and they also have a Moto G9. This is just like an enormous phablet budget phone. It's got a 6.8-inch display and a massive battery. It's bigger and heavier than the Note 20 Ultra, starting for $470.
The battery is pretty great on that phone, though, I've heard.
Coming soon, yeah.
So that was Motorola's announcements that they had. Now let's get to the thing that, of course, as Apple fanboys, maybe not official Apple fanboys, but getting pretty close, that we care about a bunch, and that is the Apple event. So it was actually rumored that they were going to just launch something on September 8th.
Yeah, I think we saw this from John Prosser on Twitter.
Yeah.
It was like,
September 8th.
Turns out
his sources were wrong, apparently, because nothing launched. All that did launch was the announcement for the event that's happening a week later.
This is true.
Yeah, that is the event we're doing a bonus episode on. That will be September 15th on a Tuesday. We'll get up as soon as we can. I'm going to be driving cross country, so I'll be about in Wisconsin by that point, I think. And I'll be, making sure I lock down in a hotel or wherever so I can get some good internet and we can record
cheese, that. Wisconsin local cheese.
I don't think. Oh yeah, be eating some cheese curds, squeaking on the podcast and such. Yeah. So what do we think we're gonna see at that event? Are we gonna see the iPhone 12? Are we gonna see? What are we gonna see?
This has been such a mixed bag, I feel like, in the community. We're seeing reports left and right. My personal opinion is this is gonna be an Apple Watch and iPad event. The invitation itself said time flies. That's a hint at Apple Watch. So we're going to be seeing Apple Watch Series 6. We're going to see new iPads, possibly the new iPad mini. We're going to see kind of streaming services and gaming services updates. There's actually a leak I saw that code in the Apple Music app for Android hinted at an Apple One streaming service. So an all-encompassing service.
Subscription service, not streaming service.
Excuse me. Subscription service that encompassed like Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, iCloud Drive, things like that into just one bundled subscription.
Do we have any leaks on pricing for that? Because I think that's going to be very interesting how much they price that at.
Yeah,
What's the saving?
It's really going to depend what the everything includes, I think I would guess it's going to be $25 a month. I think that's my guess.
Pretty good price. Like, just sounds good. And you figure, all right, so Apple Music, is that $8.99?
15 for family.
Okay, but just for person, isn't it? Is it $8.99 or is it $4.99? $4.99 for student. $9.99. Okay. Yeah. So then Apple TV eventually is going to be. Is that also $9.99? I think
that's $4.99.
$4.99, and then Arcade is also $4.99. I don't know if they'll include Arcade. Honestly, that seems like they'd probably keep that separate.
Well, they may just like throw it into the bundle because I think people are like, if this delivers a good value, it's there if you want it. People may not take advantage of it. I don't know.
I see it more as them trying to push their core services. So, the iCloud push.
Maybe a terabyte or something.
Oh, okay. Let's just sidebar. Let's really hope that they update their storage options. Right?
Yeah.
Because the fact that it goes from 50 gigabytes to 200 gigabytes, and then does it go to 2 terabytes or does it go to a terabyte after? I think it goes right to 2.
It's a terabyte. No, it goes to 2 terabytes.
It goes to 2 terabytes, right, for $9.99.
Yep.
I think that's insane. Apple, what are you doing? Because right now I keep running in. I'm at 200 gigabytes, and I keep just hitting that wall and having to all right, what am I going to do now? Let me get creative. And I know that they're eventually going to have to update their plan, so I don't want to start paying more. And
right.
We'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky. So it looks like Apple smartwatch Series 6, and then the iPad Air. It doesn't look like we'll see a Pro or a Mini, right? I think.
I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see for that. Yeah. Really, what I think is happening is the iPhone models are delayed this year. I think there's going to be a separate event in October covering everything we need to know about that. So next week, expect Apple Watch and iPad. That's my take.
And possibly there's other rumors out there for Apple devices, possibly the tags we've heard a lot about.
Yeah.
Right? Potentially, which would be something that compete with Tiles. But I think, if I understand right, essentially what they'd also be is you could actually, using AR, like you could hold up your phone or whatever device and look around the room, and it would actually show through your camera where that thing was.
So cool.
Cool. That would be really awesome. And really, honestly, one of the better implementations of AR that we'll have seen to date, if that's what they're actually doing. We'll have to see. We also could see an AirPod update potentially, or what do they call them? Whatever it would be the Apple branded over-ear headphones, basically.
Yes. Yes. I've heard rumors about those like months ago, 6 months ago or something.
And maybe even some update on potentially an ARM laptop or something like that.
I would love to see that as well.
I don't know. There's a lot for them to talk about. It really depends on how they're going to break it down. What are they going to push to the iPhone event in October, and what are they going to do now? But I'm excited.
When?
It's my birthday that day too, so I'm hoping. I figure, right, if your birthday's on the same day as the event, they give you one of everything for free, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing a dedicated shout out too. I expect just a Gabe Shakur slide.
I'll just thank him in advance. Thank you, Apple. I really appreciate it.
When do you think iOS 14 is gonna launch?
Usually, don't they do like a day or two after, right? Or no, it's usually like a week after, and then the devices go on sale at the same time, pretty much, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's usually like the week before the devices launch.
Yeah.
So they have the announcement on Tuesday. It's usually that Friday when the software is available.
Yeah.
But they also usually do it for the iPhone event. Do you think they'll release it after this event for the iPad?
No, I think they'll release iOS before the iPhone event, honestly.
I think so too. I think these new iPads and Apple Watch will ship with the latest software.
Yeah, and hey, give people, a new iOS for their iPhone, and they'll be like, "Oh, cool." And then by the time the new iPhone event rolls around, their phone will start feeling even less new.
It'll feel new for a month, and then it'll be like, wait a minute, it's still the old phone again, and they'll be ready to upgrade.
Exactly. Perfectly timed. Get it right where you want them, Apple. So tune in on Tuesday for that full update and discussion on the Apple event. Moving on, let's go on to some mobile software. Big news talking about iOS. Well, the flip side of iOS, I guess. Flip side, or I don't know, whatever. Opposite of that, yeah. Android 11
Yeah, that
has
came
actually
out.
come out. I'm gonna defer to you on this because I right now do not own an Android device, so I really have no feeling for what this does. I did hear supposedly something about wireless CarPlay coming maybe in future iterations. I don't think that was this one, but yeah, what does this mean for Android device owners?
Sure. So Android 11 came out September 8th. It's currently available now for Pixel 2, 3, 3A, 4, 4A, and all the XL models of those, and it's coming to other devices soon. Probably, I want to say like OnePlus. Those devices are usually pretty good at software updates. Samsung fans, like, good luck. Maybe in a couple of years, we'll see what happens.
Though I did hear, didn't Samsung recently? Did they say that they just confirmed that they were going to be, or what was it? Said that they were going to do like 3 years of software updates, guaranteed.
Yeah, well, software updates doesn't necessarily mean Android 11. Like, this can be Samsung pushing updates.
True. Yeah, that is true. I think maybe this was a poll that some website did, like Android Authority or someone like that, where they asked viewers like how many, or readers, how many of you would consider switching to Android or going with, or Samsung, sorry, if they agreed to, or like, promised that they would do 3 years of regular Android updates and then 5 years of security. And it was like 98% would.
Hey, Samsung
heavily
could
consider.
Up the game on the software. For anyone who does get Android 11, there is a new conversations notification section. So when you pull down your notification shade, the first section at the top is dedicated for conversation apps, messages, notifications. You also get chat bubbles. This brings Facebook's chat heads to all your messaging applications like Telegram and Messages, so you can easily stay in touch with your friends. There's a new native screen reader, easier to use media controls, and a new smart home control menu. When you press and hold on the power button, you get the Android Pay and also your new smart home control menu, which is pretty cool. There's the ability to give one-time permissions to apps to use your camera, microphone, or location data. This is really cool if you want to be more privacy focused, but the app needs certain access to function properly. You can do one-time use. Next time you open the app, you'll have to reapprove it. There's a new improved screenshot UI, and there's a native screen recording app built in, and there's plenty more which you can find on the official Google release notes page. So just find out more. But those were the highlight items. Overall, Google working to improve their operating system and experience. On another note, Android 11 Go, the lighter version of Android designed for budget phones, that also launched yesterday, September 10th, and it now launches apps 20% faster, along with some other improvements. So good news for the Android community.
Yeah, why did Android get away from the interesting names and just go to like complete numbers and boring?
I think people didn't understand. Like,
they ran out of.
Like,
they realized they were gonna run out.
Well, is Lollipop better than Marshmallow? I just don't think people understood the generation, like what was new and what was old, and the numbers is just, well, if it's a bigger number, it's better. So
I guess that makes sense, but it is kind of sad because I always liked, guessing.
It was so fun
trying to figure out what the latest, one would be named, and it makes more sense than Mac OS just being a random. All right, are they still doing California national parks right now, or what are they doing? They were right? There's cats, no progression.
Dogs?
At least Android was alphabetically moving through snacks.
Desserts, specifically.
Desserts, sorry, yes. So that's sad, but yes, at least we have a new Android operating system. It'll be interesting to see, because usually I thought when you were mentioning that, like the UI around screen recording and stuff, that it was a lot of stuff that actually Apple has done in iOS, when usually it's the other way around, where Apple is putting stuff in way after Android has.
It's true. I mean, screen recording has been available on different Android phones built in for a while. Now it's just officially built into the operating system, which is kind of nice.
But even like the one-time permissions, isn't that already coming with iOS 14?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But pretty similar.
So that was it for Android. We also did see Huawei. This is honestly very exciting, I think, because it's been pretty stagnant since Windows Phone OS, went RIP, and we've just had iOS, Android. It's a duality right here, or not? It's a duopoly, as they call it. And now we potentially, because of Trump and the United States government's ban on Huawei interacting with any U.S. company, mainly obviously Google, they have had to go a different route and create their own software for their phones, their own operating systems. So it's called Harmony OS, and it looks like it could be shipping out in 2021. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, so they already have the operating system running for smartwatches, car head units, and TVs, and we could see phones running Harmony OS as early as 2021. And this would include their own app store. I think it has like 96,000 apps at this point. But yeah, it's nice to see the competition, to be honest. And I do wish Huawei well. They do make some really cool products.
Yeah, I mean, this whole I'm not even gonna get into the whole like China U.S. rhetoric and everything. I honestly think what you want for a political thing or geopolitical, whatever. But from a tech standpoint, I don't think it really helps the consumer to have all these trade barriers going up and restrictions. But this potentially forcing them to make their own operating system could actually help the consumer if U.S. People in the United States are allowed to buy their products on places like other than black market.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on this again.
Yeah.
I think it'll really do well kind of in China and that area and demographic. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
All right, well, moving on, we have some quick audio news, honestly, not a lot. I thought we'd have more, right? Are we missing something? Beats? No, they didn't release anything. Sennheiser, no new headphones, no new Audio-Technica. Yeah, so the only thing we really had was Bose announcing what I think should be considered a joke, but 3 pairs of their new frame audio sunglasses, which are these just essentially sunglasses that also have a speaker built in. Like, people do know you can wear headphones with sunglasses, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know, like, interesting take. So the sunglasses are using bone conducting technology, and I actually have a pair of bone conducting headphones. I forget the name of them. They're all right, I can't remember, but the technology is cool because you can hear your music while still retaining full awareness of your outside surroundings. And this can make the glasses or the headphones great for exercising, running outdoors, biking, things like that. And the fact that they are built into sunglasses may make them a little bit easier to wear with like a bike helmet or things like that. But yeah, to Gabe's point, like these are kind of a joke of a product. I don't know.
Well, okay, I actually do kind of partly take back what I said, because I do see this working towards, I've talked about it before, my thought that in the future, we're all just going to be walking around with assistants in our headphones, but this would work because it frees up our ears for actually listening, and, headphones don't have to do the piping and the outside noise type thing, which, uses up a ton of battery life, and instead you can use these bone conducting, not headphones, but sunglasses in this case, and still, have access to potentially, your smart assistant if you want while you're walking around.
It is really cool technology. Even, I don't know if sunglasses is the right form for it. Maybe it is. What I will say is the first time I put them on and I was playing music, I thought it was coming out of my phone speaker. Like, it just sounded like it was part of the world.
It's kind of like open ear headphones.
Yeah, open ear. And exactly. And then I realized, oh, wait, the headphones are actually working. So I enjoy them, particularly for running and hearing the traffic and cars passing me. But yeah, for $250, I think these are kind of expensive.
Yeah, because what if you don't want to wear headphones but want to still use them? I mean, wear glasses but don't want to use them.
Or if you want to just listen to music and not have glasses on. Yeah. Like if you go shopping at a grocery store, all of a sudden you're just that person wearing sunglasses inside.
Everywhere, because you don't have another pair of headphones because you spent $250 on. Yeah, they're a bit crazy. The more important things is we did see that they launched what people are calling their challenger to the AirPods Pro, which is the Quiet Comfort earbuds.
I'd be very curious to try these out.
Yeah, they have ANC, so the noise canceling, and I would say they look pretty good. I've never actually tried their Quiet Comfort earbuds, but I generally think they're not as good looking as the Galaxy Buds or the Galaxy Beans or even the Pixel Buds. I don't know. They're still very clunky.
I thought the previous generation, because my friend had them and I tried them, those were clunky. They stuck out of your ears quite a lot. They didn't really have the electronics and the stem like the AirPods Pro did. But I enjoyed the sound quality that Bose typically offers. So I'll be very curious to try these out in person, hear how they sound, and maybe see how they look once people get their hands on them and can show them off.
True. Yeah, well, those are things you wear in your ear, but we also got some things you wear on your wrist and, well, mainly wrist, I guess. I don't know where else they don't really have wearables for, well, I guess we have the Amazon Ring thing and now we also have,
actually.
Yeah, now we actually have the Amazon Halo, which is the fitness subscription platform, but it pairs with the, is it the Tone? No, sorry, that's their, what's the wristband called or whatever?
The Halo.
The Halo
Amazon
band.
Halo.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Which, I don't know. First off, how do you feel about giving your health data to Amazon?
This is actually, I'm usually okay with it. I am less inclined to give my health data to Amazon as a company. I feel much more comfortable with Apple, and for whatever reason, I feel much more comfortable with Google. But Amazon, it just feels weird to me. And like, I don't feel like they make a lot of products, like their Fire tablets and Fire phones. I don't feel like those have been particularly good. So I'd kind of question this device, how it integrates with other devices. But yeah, this is the Halo band for $100, which requires a subscription, which is $4 a month.
Yes, and two of the big headline features are it analyzes the tone of your voice to like figure out how positive you are, which this is something that, oh boy, like what if they can tell you you're feeling really positive and then they figure, oh, if we tell people they're feeling positive, they're more likely to spend money, or the inverse, and so we can recommend them stuff that we know that they like when we know they're feeling positive, or right? I don't know. They can do a lot of stuff with the data. The other thing that this one does is you can also take pictures of yourself, and then it will tell you your body mass index after analyzing this in the cloud.
That's the flag right there, where I'm just like,
woo,
this product is going a little bit too far for my comfort.
Yeah, it does seem a little cool that they can do that, but also, do you really want them to do that? And like this, otherwise this, the Halo band isn't really much to look at. Like, it's pretty simple. So I guess they'd be going after people who mainly want those two features.
I can kind of see how the wearable health market could expand, given that more people at home, you're going to doctor's offices or health offices less frequently. So I could see a potential market. I'm just not sure if this is the product. I think it's really weird sending in pictures of your body to get your BMI, and I don't like the subscription model. Like, I feel like I have enough subscriptions already, and an extra $4 to get my health data it feels weird. I wonder. Yeah.
Thinking like future wise, there's that, what is that device? Is it just called Mirror?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Mirror.
Like, I could see a future where Amazon or some other companies releases stuff like that, where it's like it's a mirror, and you go in front of it every morning. It's giving you your weather and stuff. It's also taking photos of you and seeing, all right, how healthy you look. What's your what's his skin complexion, mood? Personality. Oh, it looks like you need a haircut. I'll schedule one in. Like stuff like that. Calculating your BMI, all sorts of things, right? Posture, and then being able to spit out. Because basically what tech companies do is they figure out ways to monetize and offer services by collecting huge amounts of data.
It's true.
Or
some of the insights are really cool too.
In the case of Apple, they don't really do that. Well, they do, but they don't share your data with anyone else, is what they do.
That's why they charge like $600 for their Apple Watch, as opposed to $100. So
because they're not piggybacking off. Like Google is turning around selling your data, or Amazon, so they can offer their devices. They're super cheap.
And really, they're not necessarily always selling your data, but they're using it for targeting. Like,
they're leveraging it.
Yeah, you want to target someone in this weight class who may be looking to reduce weight or be healthier. Yeah. Then boom, we have like this target demographic using our band.
That's a very good correction, because they're not turning around and just selling your data on the open market, like, so that anyone can access it. They're putting it into their platform that offers ads or other forms of targeting.
Exactly.
For selling and stuff. So yeah, that was the ish kind of wearable. The more interesting ones are Fitbit, who, if you don't know, I am still a Fitbit user. Maybe I'll get the Apple smartwatch this year. We'll
Next
find out
week.
in
Please.
a couple days. If you don't know, last year I ordered the Apple Watch 5, Series 5, picked it up from Best Buy, and I started seeing a lot of bad reviews, and I was like, maybe I don't get it this year, and returned it promptly, like 3 days later. So,
much to my disappointment. I was so ready.
Yeah, this year I think I'm going to be getting it, opening it up, and then returning it and taking a $35 hit on the return fee even, because I didn't want it that much still yet.
Baby steps, Gabe. Baby steps. We're almost there. But in the meantime, you could upgrade to one of these Fitbits.
That is true.
Have you seen what they're offering?
Yeah, well, right now I do have the Fitbit Charge 3, or no, Charge 4 now I think I have. And these new ones are more smartwatch type, except for the Inspire, which honestly I don't really want to talk about. So the main thing is
we got inspiring for you.
It's not very inspiring at all.
I'm sorry.
Counterintuitive to its name. But so we got the biggest one. Obviously, is the Versa 3, which is, as the name suggests, it's the third Versa that we've got, and this has been their big smartwatch up until this point. But maybe even bigger, we also got a whole new line of smartwatches, the Sense.
Yeah, and this is actually
this is their flagship. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting is they went from with the Versa, which is their previous flagship. They then were like, all right, let's go one up above that and do a new flagship. So you get a nice AMOLED screen, you get a built-in GPS. They're saying right now it's about 6 days battery life or more from a single charge, which, come on, Apple. I know your watch does a lot more, but can you get at least close to this in some way? That's all I'm asking. But the other thing is it does have contactless payment, and then stuff like Spotify, Pandora for listening on the go. Yeah.
It also has some new metrics it takes measures of. So you have atrial fibrillation detection via an ECG app, skin temperature, and stress level tracking via an EDA app. So some new health metrics to complement your new smart Fitbit Sense.
And what do you think looks-wise? What do you think of it?
I think these watches look great. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Apple Watch. It's a little bit round. Well, I guess I have the old square one. But yeah, it reminds me of the Apple Watch. I think it's a good, clean look. Basically as good as you can get for a smartwatch. And for anyone who's, on Android, because these will work for Android, I think these are going to be fantastic fitness companions.
Well, they work with iOS too, but they don't integrate as well.
Yeah, that's like the big thing I love about my Apple Watch is the activity app. Being able to close my activity rings, get notifications when my friends are closing activity rings.
Fitbit does offer all that.
As far as the ecosystem.
Not in different ways, but some would argue that the Fitbit one is better because people don't have to they could have Android or iOS, or not even I guess you still need some sort of phone. Can you sync with your computer? I'm not really even sure. I hope not. That would be so archaic. But anyways, like my dad, for example, he's older. He's not as techy. He doesn't maybe have as many friends that use smartwatches like the Apple Watch or, different Android ones. So having a Fitbit, honestly, he's probably too obsessed with it. He uses it too much. But it's the type of thing that keeps him active because, he can do these little competitions like, completing so many steps or so many hours of activity and stuff. And it's honestly, I think it's actually Fitbits put more time into their like social network on their fitness app or their app than, Apple's just kind of more just your friends.
I would be very curious. It is true. With Apple, you have to have them as your friends, your contact. There's no public platform.
Yeah,
I'd still be curious to know the number of Apple Watch users compared with the number of Fitbit users and how those
I would guarantee there's more more Fitbit users.
I'm seeing if Google has the answer.
Okay. I almost would, because it has to be, because it's the same reason why there's more Android users than.
I don't know, because in Apple's presentation, they said Apple Watch is now the number one watch in the world.
It's the number one. Well, it's because they only sell one watch. Fitbit sells like 8 different devices at a time. So, and you can use the Fitbit Connect or whatever the app is no matter which one you use. So
I guess it's true. I'd still be curious to know.
It's the reason why the iPhone's the best-selling phone in the world, and not something.
They only make one.
They only make one, exactly. Meanwhile, Huawei and Samsung are the top two phones manufacturers as far as numbers go.
Sure. Yeah,
I would go Fitbit, but maybe I'm wrong. And if someone knows that, correct us on Twitter or wherever.
Please, I'm so interested.
That wants me to be wrong.
And I guess the other notes we have here for Apple Watch. Speaking of my favorite watch that I use, jumping back to it, we could see a budget, quote unquote, Apple Watch SE on Apple's September 15th event, and Google Maps is coming back to Apple Watch. I know that it was took a 3-year hiatus.
I've really missed it, I gotta say.
Gabe, you and your Apple Watch over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to our favorite topic, gaming, which honestly, for this episode, it almost is my favorite topic because we had some huge gaming news. Let's just start with the biggest thing that I think was...
please.
Yeah, starting with Xbox and Microsoft. The announcement, well, at first it was leaked, and then all right, screw it, we're going to announce it, of the Xbox S Digital Edition. Is that what they're calling it, right?
I think it's just Xbox Series S.
Series S, yeah, that's what, sorry, I meant. I left out the series. Too many different things. But yeah, the Xbox Series S, and it's the all-digital version is what it is.
That's correct.
Of the Series X. And it's amazing how much smaller it is, for one. That's the biggest thing.
It's a third of the size. It's tiny.
It can fit in the other one.
Yeah, exactly. And compared to a PlayStation 5, I mean, this has got to be just so small.
Yeah, I would, even though I do have some Xbox physical games still, I almost would think of, I don't know. I still think if I would get back, I don't use any gaming hardware anyways. I don't game that often, but right now it's kind of done this thing to me where I was before thinking PlayStation, but it's a bit like, oh, whatever's the most recent announcement, I kind of want that one.
It's so easy to jump into this too because the Series S is starting at just $299 and it's offering up to 1440p gameplay at up to 60 frames per second. And then if you wanted to play at a lower resolution, you can even hit 120 frames per second for your gameplay. So you're getting super smooth games. This thing is coming with a 512 gigabyte SSD. You can expand it with a 1 terabyte expansion card if you'd like. And yeah, at $300.
Yeah, that's the notable thing. Let's just put that out there. $300 versus, essentially, is the Xbox Series X, it's a little more powerful, right?
It is significantly more powerful. So you're looking at 4 teraflops for the Series S and 12.15 teraflops for the Series X. Excuse me. So basically, instead of 1440p on the Series S, the 4K. X offers 4K, 60 frames per second, and then can also go up to 120 frames per second for slightly lower resolutions. So yeah, for $500, the Series X is, it's a price bump, but you're also getting the best of what Microsoft has to offer. But yeah, that Series S is coming in here at the sweet spot, and I think this is very strategic on Microsoft because Sony basically has the PS5, like that's it. They have the digital, and they have the one with the disc.
They could have more. We don't really know yet.
We don't know yet.
They could have a little. What's this little PS5 up our sleeve here? PS5 whatever we're gonna call it.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I think this is smart on Microsoft's part because they can now target the gamer enthusiasts who can pay the $500 for the Series X. And then more casual people where $300 for a console is so much more reasonable. Yeah. And what's super interesting...
Yeah, okay. Are we going to talk about the pricing?
Yeah, Gabe. So, if you didn't want to spend all this money up front, what is Microsoft doing?
So on our slow march towards the subscription life, we have now gotten gaming consoles on the... Well, actually, it's more lease-to-own type thing with this new plan they're announcing called Xbox All Access. And basically what it does is you get your new Xbox. So say you want to go with the Series S or the Series X, and it's for 24 months. You're going to have to pay this per month of either $35 or $34.99 for the Series X or $24.99 for the Series S. And what's big about this, right, is you're not just getting, it's not just a payment plan for the console. you're also getting bundled in their Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which includes, it's really incredible how many games this thing includes.
I think this is such a brilliant move from Microsoft because instead of selling a console, they're selling a gaming experience. What you're gaining access to is their platform. And you can enjoy this platform either on your new console or on your mobile phone or on your gaming PC. That's why
they're basically upselling it, right? Because until this point, a lot of times what people would do is they'd buy the console and then maybe they'd sign up for Game Pass for oh, I'm gonna be at home on vacation, this month for Christmas or the holidays, or maybe I get a couple weeks off here. I'm gonna be gaming a lot, and they just sign up for the Game Pass Ultimate for that 1 month and then cancel it after. So what they're doing here effectively is they are giving you a discount. Because I think, Game Pass Ultimate for 12 months or 24 months.
I think we should put air quotes on discount, but please continue.
True, right? So Game Pass Ultimate for 24 months, it's $15 a month. That'd be $360 plus $300 for the console. That'd be $660. And so you would only pay $600. So you're getting a $60 discount, basically.
But at the same time, instead of spending just $300 for the console and then $60 for the games you wanted, you are now spending $500 for the console or I think you said $600?
Yeah, $600, yeah.
$600.
That's for the Series
console.
S, yeah.
Yeah, for the console and the service. So instead of spending $300, you're doubling what you otherwise would be spending.
You're doubling it, but if you're the type of person who's gonna, subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate anyways and then buy games as well, this makes more sense because
is it worth it? Yeah, I think it's a great value, and it's super smart, and it's super clever, and people are leasing their phones, so why not a game console?
Well, and it's not even leasing. I would say it's
renting
more
to own, no buy to
pay, like lease to own type thing.
It's a payment plan.
Because, the difference is, I was actually thinking about this, right? Why aren't they offering just a lease and then, upgrade to the next one? Well, because gaming consoles have a lot slower refresh cycles. So, 24 months down the road, there's not going to necessarily be, or most likely won't be, a new gaming console. Maybe it'll be a slight upgrade or update, but most likely it will still be the same.
I don't know.
I
think the other point to this is by having a monthly subscription, it could make it more easy for Microsoft to do more subtle updates. Like instead of doing a huge generational leap every 5 to 10 years, maybe every 2 to 3 years, we get just subtle improvements, and they keep iterating and improving on the...
The main thing there is, I think, as far as gaming compatibility goes with their games, that's why they don't do that often, I think. Right?
I see. Yeah. Because then you have to optimize it for different systems.
Exactly. That's the big advantage that consoles have over PCs is that it's very standardized, and because of that, the developers can really optimize the games for the platform. But speaking of PCs, actually, we got NVIDIA, and I don't usually care about graphics cards. I'm a Mac user. I buy my computer all in one. I don't even look at the internal specs other than one time I buy it and then I don't care about them ever again. But we got the new NVIDIA 30 series graphic cards, and I'll let you talk about this because I feel like you might know a little more about it than me. But I watched IGN did a little thing on it, and they were basically saying the entry level of these 30 series graphic cards has specs that are above what the previous generation had, the top of the line models.
That's correct.
Even the lowest one that's going for $500 of the 30 series has specs above the $1,200 one that used to be as of this a month ago.
That's correct.
So NVIDIA, which is insane.
The 2080 Ti was the flagship graphics card, and now the entry level RTX 3070 for $500 exceeds the performance levels of that card. That's just insane.
What a generational leap.
Basically, these cards, I don't want to get too much into it because there are more gaming-focused channels with more knowledge and expertise than us. But
my stool just completely collapsed. Sorry, we're leaving this in.
Oh no, Gabe! What? I was like,
this is insane. My stool just completely collapsed that I was sitting on. I would usually cut this out, but you don't get this happening very often.
Live on the podcast. I thought you were making snapping sounds because you had a cat near you or something.
It could not handle the specs of the NVIDIA graphics card. It just collapsed my little sitting platform.
It was overwhelmed.
Keep talking, though, while I try to find some way to stand or sit.
these cards can handle 8K gaming. And I think this also is tied closely with the next generation console release, because really what you're getting here is the graphics cards for PC. I'm sorry, Gabe just had to leave. Anyway, these cards are for gaming PC enthusiasts, where they can bring the next level of gaming to their PCs, support for 8K games on, absolutely massive displays, or 4K gaming at higher frame rates, which I think is even better. These deliver a tremendous value, great for gaming, video editing, graphic intensive tasks. If you're a PC enthusiast, check these out. These are epic.
Yeah, I almost think, well, for the first time ever in my history of being a computer owning and working person, I thought about maybe I should build my own PC, because they look so exciting and they've become more affordable, like the specs you can get now with them. So very interesting. And I think this is the first time we've ever mentioned graphics cards, really, except for like maybe one or two other times before on this podcast. So it's got to be pretty monumental for us to talk about it. But yeah, that was the exciting news from there. One more little kind of gaming thing, but also kind of in the drone area, is we got something. Nintendo, I just got to say, they know how to do stuff that is original. I would never, other companies you might...
It's weird.
You might say other companies you can criticize for copying other ones and stuff. Nintendo is the one company you can never criticize for being a copycat. Like, Nintendo Labo, what even is that, right? Cardboard that you can game with? Like, it's insane. Anyways, what we got Mario Kart brought to AR thanks to some little I guess they're radio control. Well, they're not actually radio controlled, but they're Wi-Fi controlled essentially.
Yes, and they're physical. Like, these are real physical toys.
Yeah.
That you connect to your Switch that have cameras on the front of them, so you can race in a Mario race around your kitchen or your living room
using like
or your
AR
playroom.
And physical what is it called, like physical things you set up that I think are made of cardboard, actually.
Yeah, it looks like they're made of cardboard. They're like little race gateways. So yeah, it's Mario Kart Live home circuit. You can race around your home in a never before seen Mario Kart fashion.
Feels a little gimmicky, but I think this is aimed more at like the families at home or kids and stuff like that, not really your
Unfortunately,
I
think
type.
Kids are going to really like this. Like, it's just such a cool
right.
novelty that I bet it will sell well, but it's like, yeah.
And it requires a Switch, I think, right?
That's correct. You need a Nintendo Switch to take advantage of this.
There we go. Sell more Switches and get into the kids when they're young. But yeah, as these are kind of drones, let's just switch it up and go with drones next instead of the usual route we get to drones, which is through like more photography and cameras and stuff. But one thing we did see is obviously DJI continues to kind of be on the will they be banned in the US or not. I'm really hoping they don't get completely banned. Right now they're banned from being used by any US government agencies, which I'm not going to shill, DJI's party, whatever line they're talking, their company line. I did talk with Brandon Schulman. I had a Zoom chat. I was lucky enough to chat with him at DJI Airworks, their online conference. And, he obviously is going to be pro DJI and all the reasons why they should be still operating in the United States and invoke the kind of, that consumers should have the right to choose type thing. That's what companies always do whenever they're facing bans and stuff. But I do see his point in that, like, it does kind of seem crazy that DJI is getting railroaded so much when their drones could potentially really help a lot of industries, especially like the firefighting efforts that are going on in California right now, which, they can't use DJI drones, and that's a lot of the drones they own. But maybe going forward, we will see some new drones going into use, specifically this one by a company called Teal, which, just first off, before we talk about it, let's just say that's $12,000. So that kind of puts it out of your price range.
Oh, really? You found that? I couldn't
I found
even
that
find
online.
The price. I was like looking on their website, and it was that contact us form. No pricing, no details.
Well, if they don't put the price on the website, it's super expensive.
That's so true.
And so I was able to find an article. It's about $12,000 for the drone and a suite of services that they pack in with it. But it does, look it up online. It's called the Golden Eagle. It's an American-made drone, and it's going to be used by the U.S. military. Interestingly, we did also see, specs-wise, 4K with an infrared camera. Interestingly, we did see Skydio actually get approval from the DoD. Is that the Department of Defense? Yeah, from the DoD. For their drones to be used. And I think we talked about it briefly in a previous episode, but they have the Skydio, I think it's the X2 platform that's coming out, which looks really good. Again, with all these kind of more pro-level, prosumer, not even prosumer, professional industry drones.
Federal, military.
Yeah, well, for industry use. But, it's always, they look incredible. And then, of course, because they're not priced for consumers, their prices, they're not trying to cut any corners. They're putting them, full prices on them because they know it's going to be footed by the U.S. government or some huge company.
Right. So they can afford to charge $12,000.
So yeah, that will be very expensive, most likely. And they'll be flying around wherever U.S. Government and U.S. Troops are. And hey, I think that's good potentially for a company like Skydio to get some more money in and not, get squeezed out by DJI. I do hope they keep making consumer drones though, because even though I haven't used the Skydio 2, it does look very promising.
It would be epic for outdoor adventures. The other bit of drone news that I had here is Walmart is starting to test drone delivery for household goods and groceries. They're launching a small pilot program in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and they're using automated drones operated by the Israeli startup Flightrex. And yeah, this is it's real. It's happening. People are trying this. Do you think drone delivery services have a future, Gabe?
I think eventually, the main thing is we do have to see the U.S. government come out with some real concrete, and the FAA come out with some real concrete laws around drones, whether it's modernizing and digitalizing the whole airspace and how that's mapped and adding a layer for beyond line of sight drones to be flown and automated drones to be flown. So maybe it's 400 to 600 feet, 400 to 800 feet. That's the little airspace path for those drones to be flown. And also to come out with a remote ID law, which, the really sad thing, unfortunately, is with remote ID, for anyone who is a drone pilot and watching and waiting for that to be announced at the end of this year, is it will probably be something that's very pro-industry. So, it's made for Amazon, for Walmart, for these huge companies who just wants the U.S. government to release some regulation whatsoever. They want something out there so that they can, they'll jump through as many hoops, pay as much money as possible to be able to operate in the airspace. They don't care about consumers and, individual pilots out there trying to fly drones or photographers and stuff who don't want to pay maybe. What if the government says, oh, you're going to have to pay $100 a month for the service to fly? That's not really feasible for small pilots or just recreational pilots, but for Amazon, they don't really care at all. So that's just my little hot take that I got from talking to Brendan Shellman about what the future of drones looks like in the industry. Interestingly, people do always talk about shipping and stuff, but there are a lot of uses that they're being used around the world and in this country. For example, even policing, which is something happening in Chula Vista. Look it up online. Very interesting test use case. Anyways, moving on to non-drone news. Let's actually talk about TikTok because, that's still happening.
It's a clock.
TikTok.
Well, what's happening?
We've had a couple more buyers jump into the ring potentially. One was Oracle, who has no forward-facing consumer platform whatsoever, so I don't think that's a good one. The other one we just briefly did mention, Walmart, was Microsoft. I know has for a while been rumored to be in talks with TikTok about acquiring their U.S. and maybe North American operations. And now it looks like if that goes forward, it could potentially be in a partnership with Walmart, and they would be putting up some money to, I don't know, it'd be interesting what form that would take because Walmart isn't really a tech company, but they're interested in TikTok because of the advertising opportunities, I think. So
I think you're right. I don't know. Yeah. It seems weird for these larger stores to be interested in purchasing a social media platform. I don't know. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
But we'll reach a sale at some point.
Or not. Maybe TikTok will be banned and then you'll never be able to use it ever again. I really hope not. Honestly, I am personally pushing kind of for Twitter to buy it a little bit.
But I feel like I like Twitter, but
also mainly not because I hate Twitter personally. It seems very toxic in a lot of ways, and right now TikTok.
Speaking
is
of
wholesome.
Toxic, Instagram has.
Oh, you think Instagram is toxic? No.
Well, their new suggested posts are designed
I want to poll. I want to poll on which is more toxic, Instagram or Twitter.
I mean, it's definitely Twitter. People
Definitely,
are like
okay.
the comments are just like volatile.
All right,
on
continue
Twitter.
on.
But what I was really trying to get at is Instagram has rolled out a feature that when you've scrolled through your feed, you get that "you're all caught up" notification, and then you'll see suggested posts. And this is just the algorithm trying to keep you engaged and interested on the platform. And I don't know. I think it
should really say "you're all caught up," which means we can't sell you any more ads. So we're going to send you some more posts so that you keep scrolling and we can sell more ads.
Exactly. So that's what I dislike about it. It's yeah, it's just trying to keep your attention, and
I get that.
You're not like, I want to be more mindful. I want to use my phone less. This is not. No, I want like.
Well, unfortunately, you using your phone less is bad for their bottom line. So this is
so forget it. Phone. Use your phone more. It should be on.
They're in the business of selling your attention to advertisers, and that's what they're going to do. But there's also some good things about, Instagram. You can share photos and videos, which that was a horrible segue, but it is our last segment, our last area and category of news, and that is the photo and video segment, so cameras and such. First off, the big news, we got the Panasonic S5, which we have the Canon R5. Like, the names are just getting too close together, but the Panasonic S5 should not be confused with the R5 because it is very much the budget, entry-level, vlogging-aimed full-frame camera from Panasonic, kind of like the Sony A7 III, I would say, or what the A7 IV will eventually be, and then the new Nikon Z5 are, right?
Yes. Gabe, I want you to keep talking. Tell me more. What do we need to know about the S5? How much is it?
All right, so first off, $2,000, or more accurately, $1,997.99. This does come if you add another $300 on with a lens, which is a new 20 to 60 millimeter lens. It's not the best lens, honestly. It's variable aperture, I'm pretty sure.
It is variable aperture, so
that's not great, but it's made to be super compact and lightweight. And, I don't know. I'm a bit torn on this camera because it's kind of underwhelming after the A7S III and the R5 were released. But if you think about it, this is what most people are going to be buying if they're looking for a full-frame camera for video and stuff. And in that regard, it's actually pretty exciting because this is better than, the A7 III, which is kind of the previous $2,000 camera to buy. And it's better than the Z6 and Z5. So if, the flagship cameras show what are going to be what's the future for cameras, this is kind of more accurately what's the now, what's reality for full-frame mirrorless cameras.
I think the only thing that disappointed me about this was Panasonic's autofocusing system is just not good. It's just not good.
I mean, I would say that I think
it needs a lot of improvement.
It needs a lot of improvement, but I also would say I've had great experience with it. So I think it's really the type of thing you got to experience before we start talking about it not being good.
I definitely, when I was using the GH5, it pulsed a lot.
3-year-old camera, 4-year-old camera now.
Yeah, but
all right, let's not jump out ahead too much.
They're
on
not
it, is all I'm
known for their autofocus.
They're not known for their autofocus, but what you're trading with that, you're getting a very affordable camera, very good specs. You're getting 14 plus stops of dynamic range, which is insane in a camera around $2,000. And you're also getting a flip around screen, which is why this is aimed at vloggers. Yes, I'll agree. This camera, does have its shortcomings, but it's a $2,000 full frame mirrorless camera, and for that price, you can't really quibble and complain too much.
It depends what your shooting style is.
True. Very true.
I just need the autofocus to be locked. So I was like excited and then disheartened.
Just gotta don't move around at all. And then
just stay rock steady. I'm not moving.
Exactly.
I'm not moving. I am a tree.
Well, moving on to the part I want to talk about, which is gimbals.
What do we have for gimbals?
Yeah, gimbals, because one thing about the S5 was that it doesn't have as good of stabilization as the S1 or the other Panasonic cameras. So maybe you're thinking about, I need to get a gimbal for that.
Right, smooth everything out.
Exactly.
Get my vlogs looking like buttery
nice
smooth.
Nice and cinematic. So first off, we had the little disappointing thing of DJI had previously teased that they were going to be announcing their new Ronin S2 on September 10th. They had teased out an image with 910 on it. And then like a week before, they were like, actually, no, we're going to tease out another image that says 20 or 2020 and then 10. So more like October. And we're going to tease that with 2 gimbals. So what it seems to be is that they're going to be releasing the Ronin S2 and then some other Ronin gimbal. This could be the Ronin SC2, but given that that gimbal is only a year old, it will probably be maybe that they'll do, a Ronin S2 Pro and then a Ronin S2 regular or S2 Lite. But yeah, exciting to see those coming out because the Ronin S was getting kind of old and, looking a little out of date compared to the more fancy and newer gimbals from like Zhiyun Tech and Crane and Moza, stuff like that. But we also did get a new gimbal from DJI, but not for your camera. You got it for your smartphone. Yeah. And this is a bit, I don't know. I'm torn on this gimbal. I mean, as someone, I own the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. I was pretty happy with it, honestly. And this new DJI Osmo Mobile 4 is essentially the same, except for all it offers is this little magnetic mount, which is I'll agree, it's very convenient and very user-friendly, where you just have it on the back of your phone, and then your phone magnetically snaps into place on the gimbal. That's awesome. But the problem is it's $150 for this gimbal right now, whereas the DJI Osmo Mobile 3 was originally $120 and now has dropped down to $100. So very affordable. My thoughts is that they released this gimbal because they had a bunch of other stuff to release still later in the year, and they figured we can release it now for $150, put our Osmo Mobile 3 for a lower price, sell those out of stock, and then once those are out of stock, we'll drop this down to maybe $125.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's a good gimbal. It's just, I think the pricing is weird and where like it's essentially the same. The only thing that's different is the magnetic clip, which is nice, but it's just not $150 nice.
We also did get Zhiyun Tech had some new gimbals, 2-axis stabilizers. I don't even pay attention to any gimbal that's 2-axis stabilization. But in case you're looking for something else, look to Zhiyun Tech. They do make something cool called the Vimbal, which is like for vlogging selfies. It extends out. Kind of cool. It has that feature, but no. All right, moving on.
$75 though for pricing. Half the price.
Yeah, all right. So definitely more affordable, but still, really DJI knows where it's at for gimbals. Though Fayutech is sending me a new gimbal, so maybe I gotta plug them too or something. I'm not really sure. Moving on, let's talk about events coming up before we wrap up this podcast. First off, Sony.
Oh, I'm so excited for this one. This caught me by surprise. Were you expecting this?
I kind of was, because I know they have a bunch of cameras on the slate, but I wasn't expecting it so soon, I gotta say. So they have an event scheduled for September. Is it 15th? Is that right? You put down here?
Yeah, September 15th.
Gosh, it's my birthday.
2 a.m.
And so I get that
time.
event. I get that product, whatever they're announcing too.
Gabe, this is Sony giving back to you they heard your song, the A7S III. They missed the mark on that, and they're just trying to make it up to you with the Sony A7C coming out on your birthday. 2 a.m. London time. What we know about this: 24 megapixel sensor, 4K 30, body shape similar to the A6600. I believe it's full frame and has IBIS, and it's using USB Type-C. We don't really know too much more about it.
They're thinking the C stands for compact, right?
I think, compact, because it is smaller, but full frame. And it's looking like around 2,100 euros for the body itself.
You kind of wonder, though, what is up? Like, are they just going to get rid of the A7 line? Like the A7 IV, is that not going to exist? Or
is this the A7 IV basically? Is it just like more compact?
I'm not really sure, right? We'll have to wait and see. Again, like, gosh,
next week is going to be so good.
We should mention this on, I guess, the bonus episode we do for
We'll
Apple.
do
Maybe
bonus episodes.
We'll just do a mini, just like a 1 minute.
We'll have
segment.
a snackable segment.
Okay, we'll have the Sony snackable segment. So
I love
keep
it.
an eye out for that. The other thing we'll have to wait a little longer for, but honestly, is, as you know from past episodes, I love GoPro, and I've bought every camera they've released since the GoPro 3. So long time in this ecosystem. And the GoPro 9, we've gotten some now. We got leaks at first, a couple of image here, there, and then the floodgates opened, and we got the photos of the packaging, which is usually what happens for GoPro because their packaging is you see those in stores all the time, and it's so memorable. And yeah, we got the packaging leaked, so now we do know the specs for this camera. The big thing, all right, first right off the bat, front-facing screen. Finally, DJI did it first. And they were like, all right, yeah, we finally got to do it. I was a little skeptical about it. I don't think it's very useful at first. All right, sorry, let me correct my English. I didn't think it was very useful at first. I have since seen my ways, and I will go back, and I'll correct the record. I think they are now useful, not only for when you're recording selfie-style vlogs and stuff, but a lot of times, like, I will put my camera up in places to get, like, a time-lapse for something, or just to capture, like, in the corner of a room on the wall or high up, or just places you can't see the screen behind, maybe low at the ground. And being able to have that front-facing screen is potentially a really easy way to quickly see what your device is recorded. Granted, all these devices have Wi-Fi, so if you really need it, you can just slap your phone into the app and get into the viewfinder mode and see what it actually sees. But otherwise, interestingly, this GoPro 9 will feature 5K recording in 30 frames a second, which, yeah, this if for those who don't know, GoPro kind of does this with their cameras in that they like slowly, incrementally up the resolution over time. So it'll be like, oh, now we kind of offer, like, it was really interesting. Originally with the GoPro 3, I think it was, they offered 4K, but at 5 or 15 frames a second. So it wasn't really useful at all. But now with this one, at least when they're jumping up from 4K, they're doing 5K at 30 frames a second. It's going to be a 20 megapixel sensor. And the big news is the fact that the battery is getting bigger. It's going to be about 42% bigger, which, hey, I'll never complain about them extending the battery life on any device.
It needs it. For an action camera, that makes a big difference. And with the front-facing screen, that could use more battery. So it's great to have that extra juice in there ready to go. But yeah, what makes me excited is having the extra resolution often makes it easier for algorithms in the camera to add stabilization. And so it looks like this is going to have Hyper Smooth 3.0. I'm expecting that to look really, really good coming off of this camera.
Yeah, Hyper Smooth 3.0, and I think Time Warp or 3.0 is the other one. And the thing I'm a little hesitant about is I have liked the nighttime photo capabilities and video capabilities, or at least time-lapse capabilities of these cameras. And, we always see when you go with a higher resolution sensor, especially due to the fact that the GoPro sensor is so small, unlike, with the Sony A7, yeah, you can have a 24 megapixel sensor, or even, 42 on the A7 R3 or 4, and still get good nighttime photos. But with a smaller sensor, is that going to be possible? I don't know. I hope so. It's not that big of a jump.
We'll see what happens.
But
I mean, such an exciting episode. A lot of it is wait and see, but that's what makes me excited for the future and what it has in store.
For Techtember, we're already there. Let's just start it now.
Either way, that's going to be it for this episode. Please give this episode a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We really appreciate it. You can follow us at Pinch to Zoom Pod on Twitter, at Pinch to Zoom Podcast on Instagram. I'm Stetson.
I'm Gabe.
And we're super excited to be talking to you next week in our special bonus episode. All right, take care.
Oh, that was a long episode.
No outro. Killed the outro. This is it. End the episode. It's too long. I can't believe it broke.
This was a low moment for my life, literally, when my stool that I was sitting on completely shattered and fell apart.